I'd like to preface just by saying that I think it's cruel to make shy people speak in front of large groups. That being said, I'll do anything for my daughter on her wedding day. The same. That's right. My aversion to formal attire has been a source of amusement to my family for decades. It's one of the reasons I fled my birthplace of Massachusetts, seeking the more casual atmosphere we found in Wyoming. I've wrestled with this over the years, and recently sought the advice of a professional to come to terms with it. We found that it's not so much the formality that's the issue. I just don't like having anything around my neck. No turtlenecks, no dickies, no tight collars, but especially no ties of any kind. Nothing resembling a rope. There's a good reason for this. Under hypnosis, it was revealed to me that in my previous lifetime as a peasant living in the Carpathian Mountains at the beginning of the Russian Revolution, I unwisely chose to make a speech supporting Tsar Nicholas II in Village Square. Turns out the audience was mostly Bolshevik. It did not end well for me. Sick. Wicked sick. It was awful. So, but we're not here tonight to talk about my past lives. I look around this room and I see family who are friends to me and friends who are family to me. I also see three definite extraterrestrials.
Three definite what?
And a lady whose photo I'm pretty sure I saw in the wanted section of the post office the other day. I want to say welcome to you all. It's so good to be with your people. That includes you aliens, as long as you're from this galaxy and not that green planet. It's a day that celebrates friendship. It's a payoff for friendships we've made and nurtured over the years, and an opportunity to form new ones with the people we meet here tonight. The relationships we have with our family and friends are what our lives are made of. They require careful tending. While it's good to reminisce with friends, we need new experiences together to keep our friendship strong. Weddings are perfect occasions for this. It's interesting to me that while weddings are universally adored in the popular culture, marriage itself gets a bad rap. Entire careers in comedy have been built on marriage jokes, and there'd be no sitcoms without a whipping boy. Marriage is the basic building block of sound societies and deserves our support no matter the gender, ethnicity, or religion of the people in them. We all benefit when people who love each other partner up. While it's not true for everyone, most of us are better off not living alone. Left to our own devices, an alarming proportion of the people in this room are fully capable of wandering around Albertsons at 2 in the morning with bathrobes and slippers, shopping for the makings of white Russians. Yeah. Or, seriously, I've seen it done. Or coming home with a breeding pair of iguanas bought in some bizarre impulse. I think it's good to think about marriage in terms of friendship. We are generally friends already before we decide to marry. Marriage is simply a continuation of that friendship. Well, not in this case. This particular marriage was arranged in 1989 and has been lying dormant for almost 30 years. A virtual sleepless cell of matrimony. Hopefully, Allie and Tom will learn to love each other every time. I can't speak for other marriages, but I can speak for my own. For most of my life now, I've been married to my best friend. It has been far and away the best time of my life. Living with Miri has made me a better person than I could ever have hoped to be stumbling around on my own. It's a common misconception that marriage inevitably grows stale. In such cases, I think it's our imagination that fails us. Friendships continue to get better over time. Marital bliss is no myth. But time to get off of this soapbox and move on to the reason we're here today. Tom Davis. I've had the pleasure of knowing Tom for about 6 years now. We've gotten to know his family as well. His dad, Bill, and his girlfriend, Danya, and her daughter, Allie. His brother, Ryan, and his wife, Haley. His other brother, Nate, and his soon-to-be wife, Sierra. And his grandparents, John and Rosemary.
That's a big family.
It's a good family. Tom and his family hail from Missoula, home of the University of Montana. And are naturally...
Go Chris! Go Chris! Go Chris!
And are naturally devout Grizzlies. We've become recent converts ourselves, except, of course, when the Grizz are playing the Pokes. I think it's no accident that this wedding is taking place on a bye week. Or else the Davis clan might right now be attending services in front of a TV back in the Cowboy Village.
Get on it.
Sadly, Tom's mom, Sandy, is not here tonight. At least not in corporeal form. She passed away almost 3 years ago, but her presence is strong with us. She was the epitome of a great mother and loved all her boys fiercely. She loved life and had a smile that told you as much. Her spirit is certainly among us now, so don't be surprised to hear a whispered shout of "Rock on Davis" in the ring air sometime tonight. Tom's a good companion, both in and out of doors. Whether it's running up Atlantic Peak, mountain biking at the bus, or backcountry skiing on Togety, he's up for anything. And as of last Saturday, you can add hunting desert elk to that list. Tom got his first bull. Tom got his first bull, a wicked, freakish 5x6 with a ground time that resembled the index finger of Thor. Tom and I were skiing together at Two Ocean Peak when he asked permission to propose to Allie. I was taken aback by this. Not so much by the question itself, but that it was directed at me. You see, in my mind, most of the time, I feel like I'm still 17. I've been told often enough by Mary that I behave like a 17-year-old. So how can my skiing partner be asking for my daughter's hand in marriage? Anyway, it was a classic thing to do. Tom's not gabby as a general rule, and when he speaks, you are wise to listen. I've heard nothing but good things about him professionally. I can certainly attest to his patience. Our family get-togethers now seem to invariably begin with a parade of the halt and the lame, seeking advice on various sprains and strains, and aches and pains, and sometimes more esoteric questions such as, what phase of the moon should one plant root vegetables or eggplant? Over time, we've reconciled ourselves to the fact that Tom's a Yankee fan, and I'm a Red Sox fan. And that's the way it is. Although it's mutually incomprehensible to both of us how the other could support such a team.
How do you deal with that?
With consummate skill and grace. We were surprised last year to find out about Tom's fondness for Harlequin romances. Even more surprising was his desire to read them aloud to us. Hell, why not? We thought that in no time we were all hooked. We'd sit around the wood stove in our bathrobes, sipping White Russians, while he read a chapter or two. We're currently on chapter 6 of The Lumberjack and the Baker's Daughter. When last we left her, Elizabeth was slowly buttering a plate of scones she had baked for bread. He watched her slather them in the flickering candlelight. The atmosphere was electric. Then there's Allie. Allie was born with the ability to speak. We marveled at this, like Rube spellbound by a carnival hawker. It was more of a first for Geordie, as he shared a room with her, and she practiced incessantly. She was also happy from birth. Well, not the birthing process itself, which would have been awkward if she was aware of it at the time. She was always just a happy kid. Allie gets family and friends. She's fierce in her loyalties to both. She possesses an insight into people that amazes me, coupled with compassionate heart. Among other things, we share a love of camping, of watching post-apocalyptic dramas, and eating takeout from the China Garden out in the desert while viewing wicked, slow-moving, horizontal green meteors. She makes the best carrot cake I ever hope to eat. She'll make one for you. The only price being how she tells you that it took 3 hours out of her life to make it. Allie has a gift for organization and attention to detail that's paid off well today. As a loving father, though, I would be remiss in not addressing the elephant in the room tonight. Early on, in the wedding planning, I told her that the most important thing to take care of was securing the venue. She ignored this advice, and by the time she got around to it, it was too late. Thus, good people, we find ourselves today in the blasted hinterlands of Jackson Hole, instead of one of the vaunted wedding venues to be found in the autumnal majesty that is Rock Springs, Wyoming. Unfortunate, yes, but let's make the best of it. This town evidently is